The clones are the best part of Star Wars, and if you disagree with me, we can't be friends. Just kidding. Hi, this is Tia from Geek Vibes Nation, your content manager, and I just love the clones a lot. The Bad Batch season 3 has ended, and we got Tales of the Empire. Both are good in their own ways. Now, I absolutely loved what we got in both the Bad Batch season 3 and Tales of the Empire. I especially loved having more General Grievous from Tales of the Empire, but admittedly, it could not hold a candle to the Bad Batch season 3, which for many, we believe that this marks the end of the Clone Wars and the Clone Era, I guess I should say, altogether, which is pretty sad because I feel that the clones are ultimately one of the best parts of Star Wars. And I don't know what Dave Filoni has planned, if we'll ever see them again. I truly hope that we do, because there's a lot of unanswered questions. But either way, that's neither here nor there. I'm not here to review the Bad Batch season 3. I'm not here to review Tales of the Empire. I'm here to do a funny little tier list of some of the most notable clones. Now, I did a tier list about 2 months ago where I ranked all these Star Wars movies and TV shows. Since then, some of my opinions have changed, and I wanted to kind of do just again a fun little tier list. As you can see on the bottom here, I have some of the clones that I feel are the most notable clones and the clones that I am the most familiar with, if not at least familiar with. There are billions and billions of clones and all that, and I'm sure that I will miss a ton. I'm sure that if someone is watching this, they'll be like, hey, where's my favorite clone? And for that, I do apologize. Please let me know if I did not include your favorite clone, if you disagree with me and all that. But I just mostly want to do this fun tier list. So let's get into it. As you guys know, tier lists from best to worst. Not a lot are going to be in this, and I will explain my reasonings for each one. So let's get into it. So these are in no particular order or anything like that. It's just literally the images that I saved and what got downloaded. And I am rambling. You didn't come here for this, you came here for the tier list. So let's get into it. First clone I'm going to do is Boba Fett. Yes, he is a clone. I'm sure that plenty of Star Wars people who are listening to this are like, yes, duh. But for people like myself who are very much amateurs within the Star Wars world, you didn't realize that Boba Fett really was a clone until, you start actually watching things. And I mean, Boba Fett is great in his later years and all that. He's obviously one of the most notable characters within Star Wars from the original trilogy. He did a great job coming back in The Mandalorian, although the Boba Fett show wasn't really as good as we had hoped. And we really didn't see a whole lot of him in the Clone Wars cartoon other than him being a kid and kind of getting his feet wet in the bounty hunting arena. Either way, I'm going to put Boba Fett here just because personally he's not my favorite clone, but he is such a notable character within Star Wars, so he gets the A tier. Next up is Hardcase. Hardcase, we only had him for like a day or something like that, but you guys have to agree with me that Hardcase and Recker would have gotten along so well. I love this character, just fun and also just down to help out his brothers and all that. He made such an amazing sacrifice that helped out his brothers on Umbara. And anytime a clone or anyone says, what's it called? Live to fight another day, I get teary eyed. So Hardcase is going to be bam, A tier. Now, the next is Kicks. Admittedly, I don't know a whole lot of Kicks other than the fact that I believe canonically, if not in Legends, he is the oldest clone, the last living clone, just because he was like frozen in space or something like that. People who are more knowledgeable about Star Wars lore, please let me know. Which is sad. I saw like this comic strip that was, and I'm not reciting this verbatim, I'm paraphrasing, but where it was like, at one point Kix had thousands, billions, millions of brothers, and now he was all alone. And that tore my heart up. So Kix will go here. And now we have 99, who, I mean, such a great character where his legacy is felt throughout. The whole reason why the Bad Batch is originally called Clone Force 99 is because of him. He did a phenomenal job inspiring the Domino Squad. And he may not have been a soldier, but he went out like a true clone when General Grievous and Asajj Ventress attacked Kamino. So for that, he goes in S. Now the next will be Mayday, another clone that we only got for a day, but you know this man made his impact. Not only did he have fabulous hair, a tragic story, but whereas the other Bad Batchers couldn't get Crosshair to see the wrongdoings of being with the Empire, it was Mayday and his death that caused Crosshair to finally realize that the Empire is not loyal to him and that he needed to be back with his brothers. So for that, Mayday goes here. Next up, we have Emory. The cool thing about the Bad Batch is that it introduced female clones with Omega and Emory. And at first, I wasn't very into the character of Emory because she was working for the Empire. She was very loyal to Dr. Hemlock. But I really liked the arc that she went through in season 3, where she realized that what the Empire was doing with the children was wrong and decided that she did not want to be on the wrong side of things anymore, and that instead wanted to help out her fellow clone brothers, as well as just doing the right thing and not allowing these children to be experimented on after being separated from their families. I really like the open-endedness of the Bad Batch, where it seems like Emory is going to join Ekko in helping him. And that's another reason why I do hope that we get to see more from the clones from Dave Filoni and Disney, just because it would be nice to see that. I'm not saying we need to maybe have like a full blown 3-season arc like we had in the Bad Batch, or even 4 seasons like we had in Rebels. But it would be nice to see something about the clones that decided to go on and fight, as opposed to the Bad Batch that we see, thankfully, growing old together on Pabu. I guess I should have said spoilers, but spoilers. But I like Emory. Emory can be here. Now let's go with some of the, actually we're going to be all of the Bad Batch right now. We're going to start with Omega. When I went back and rewatched my first tier list from 2 months ago, I did not rank the Bad Batch very high. That was when seasons 1 and 2 were out. I still stand by the fact that I didn't really like seasons 1 and 2 that much. I only really watched it because it is in the Star Wars lore. It follows what happens to the clones after the rise of the Empire. But I didn't really like the character Omega in the first 2 seasons. I saw her hopefulness and all that. It's just I felt there was too many repetitive episodes of the boys trying to get somewhere and someone or something gets left behind, and Omega just insisting they do that when realistically the logical thing would be to keep going. Season 3 completely changed my view on her and most of the Bad Batchers, where her hopefulness was absolutely a positive when it came to the Bad Batch. What she did with Crosshair in season 3 was amazing. She really had this fantastic journey and arc, and I absolutely love the end of the Bad Batch, seeing her older and choosing to go off to fight with the rebels. Very, very cool. So Omega completely gets my respect in this, and she can be right there. Okay. All right. So next, again, we're just gonna go through the Bad Batch right now, and I know that I'm gonna have some wild hot takes right now that people are not gonna agree with. So please brace yourself. Next is Tech. I know everyone cried when Tech died, and I rewatched the Bad Batch right before season 3 came out, and I still am not affected by Tech's death the way that a lot of people are. Even after really enjoying season 3, I still don't feel that affected by Tech's death. He's a good character, but I just never felt that much depth with him. And again, he's good, and obviously his death, affected the Bad Batch in a lot of ways. I don't really know what to say. I don't like this character as much as everyone else does. His death did not affect me the way that it affected a lot of other people. So I'm so sorry, guys, but I'm going to put him in B. I think Tech and Emory would have liked each other a lot, though. Just saying. Not in that way, but they would have gotten along. Next is Recker. Oh God, another character in the Bad Batch that a lot of people really like, and he's okay. I think that Recker never really got fleshed out as much as the others. He really is kind of just, in my opinion, a one-dimensional character. And that's fine, right? He is the brolic, the brawn within the character, within the Bad Batch. That's fine. Um, he could be funny sometimes, but ultimately this character doesn't really stick out that much to me. So again, B. Next we have Hunter. Hunter is cool, right? Again, I'm gonna make people mad, but Hunter, I think, was intended to be obviously the main character of the Bad Batch, the leader. His reluctantness at first to bringing Omega in definitely switched up once he started feeling that very like fatherly, paternal feeling towards Omega. I still, he's a good character. He's got great hair, but he's still not my favorite. So he's going here. Now, let's talk about Crosshair. I hated Crosshair in seasons 1 and 2. I'm not going to lie. His whole good soldiers follow orders thing got so repetitive and tired. His edginess was just repetitive and tired. And at some point, I really just kind of wanted him to be the one that was killed off. And again, the end of season 2 and season 3 completely changed that for me. I think Crosshair is the best character in the Bad Batch, the best Bad Batcher. That's why I can't like Hunter as much, because I think Crosshair just steals the show. His arc is so good. His character development is so good. I absolutely love everything between him and Omega. And just that, oh God, can we just talk about that finale really quick? I mean, the whole entire third season, he's dealing with the trauma of what he dealt with at Tantus. His hand is giving him problems. Omega helps him to kind of get through that. But once she is kidnapped and he is unsuccessful in, shooting the tracker on the ship, you could just tell he has so much PTSD from Tantus. His hand starts shaking off. Then he gets literally cut off. And in that moment when Dr. Hemlock has Omega, and I just love, see, that's the thing. Okay, really quick, I'm gonna switch. All right, Hunter goes there because I absolutely love the scene between Hunter and Crosshair, who've, butted their heads, right? Previously, Recker welcomed Crosshair back with open arms. Tech understood who Crosshair was. Hunter was more reluctant to bring Crosshair back in, but the two of them there, and Crosshair being vulnerable of being like, I don't want to put Omega in jeopardy. I'm literally missing a hand. I'm afraid. And Hunter just like, don't worry, she's got that. We got this. Let's do this. It was such a good effing scene. And I love that. And again, as much as I know that I'm like sitting here saying as if I don't like the Bad Batchers, I love that Crosshair, Hunter, Recker got to live old with Omega on Pabu. I absolutely love that. Crosshair is S tier. S tier. Crosshair is. Okay. Great. That I could rant and rave all day long, but we have a bunch of other clones to get through. So let's do this. The next is Dogma. Dogma goes there, D for Dogma, because now listen, I get it. Dogma is a clone. He was, a good soldier following orders when Pong Krell ordered the execution of Five and Jesse. Dogma was all for it, but that's because he was being a good soldier. He was being essentially what the Empire later would want from their stormtroopers, people who are going to follow their orders without question. And all of that aside, screw Dogma, because he was 100% willing for Jesse and Fives to get killed. So he goes in D. The next is Gregor. I love Gregor. I didn't really think much about Gregor in what we got from him in the Clone Wars. And obviously, he was kind of like loopy and funny in Rebels. I loved what we got of him in the Bad Batch, this kind of in between of what we saw in Clone Wars and what we get to see in Rebels. This is a great character. This is a clone commando. and he is just so funny and just so kind of there, but he's a great soldier, he's a great brother, and I love the fact that we see him here and we're like, oh yeah, he Wolf and Rex are going to be roommates in a few years. Love that. So yeah, you there you go. Okay. I never know how to use these. These are not in any particular order, by the way. Just letting you know. Once they get in a tier, that's it. Okay. Next is Hauser. And really, I don't know that much about Hauser, but that is fantastic hair. But seriously, Hauser is a good character in the Bad Batch, right? He stood up against the Empire, knew that what was happening on Ryloth was not right. And I'm just always happy when you get to see a clone that has individuality and stands up for what's right and against what's wrong, despite being a good soldier. So Hauser, fan. Next is Ekko. Oh, I love Ekko. Ekko's such a great character because while he's part of the Bad Batch, he is a real clone's clone, right? He is a brother through and through. I absolutely love at the end of the Bad Batch where he's the one to rally all the other clones that are being held on Tantus, and the fact that he works so closely to Rex. His arc was great before all of the modifications that was made to him, but I really enjoyed seeing that afterward, that whole arc of him being rescued in the Clone Wars, reuniting with Rex, but then ultimately going along with the Bad Batch because he feels more like them than a quote unquote reg, but then going back to Rex after after Order 66. I just love this character. Ekko is solid. Ekko is an ARC trooper for a reason. And when you need shit to get done, Ekko's the man. So, bam. Okay. Next we have, I feel like there's hardly anyone in these. Anyway, Jesse's a great character. I love Jesse's tattoo. It's funny because I saw someone literally point out yesterday that if Jesse had lived and was part of the Empire, it would have been really awkward for him to be having a Republic cog tattooed right on his face. But I mean, listen, Jesse, in my opinion, the end of the Clone Wars was so tragic. To have Jesse be part of the 501st. He's part of the people who wanted Ahsoka to come back. Most of them painted their helmets with her face markings because they were so excited for her to come back. I love the little scenes and tales of the Jedi, of them training with Ahsoka. I mean, Jesse was a great character, but could not fight against the inhibitor chip. And to have that final stand between Jesse and Rex, whom both trusted each other, was just heartbreaking. And it was bittersweet to see Rex burying Jesse and putting his helmet on the stick at the end of the Clone Wars. Such a great character. I mean, what these clones went through is just, I will never get over how screwed up and messed up they were treated by everyone because they deserved so much more. So let's put Jesse here. Okay, next is Heavy. So there's not a whole lot, right, about Heavy. We get him in a few episodes, but Heavy gets here because I absolutely love the art of the Domino Squad, the episode where we see 99 telling Heavy that the reason that his shoulders are so heavy, he's putting everything on his shoulders. And I love that Heavy takes what 99 is saying and he's like, okay, you know what, that's my name, right? And his death is just like very how do I put this? His death is very like badass and also honorable. I just saw a clip of it the other day where it's like the droid's going to, we take prisoners, and Heavy being like, I don't, and pressing the button. And while he sacrifices himself, he allows for his brothers to survive. And Heavy is just an absolute, like, he's a real one. So he's going there. Okay, so the next one is Cut. I don't have a whole lot of opinions of Cut. It was really cool in the beginning of Clone Wars to see a clone that had defected and has his own family, and for the clones to kind of respect that and know of it and not really caring that he defected and respecting the fact that he has a family. And I even like that we get to see him in the Bad Batch again, helping out. So he's a nice character. I'm not going to say a whole lot on him. So he can go here. Next, we have Fives. Obviously, Fives is a great character. I mean, again, the end of the Clone Wars, it just remind like when Rex is yelling to Ahsoka to find Fives. It's like if they had just listened to Fives, like if you go back and rewatch that episode where Fives is being accused of trying to kill the Chancellor and Fives is revealing everything about the inhibitor chips, you sit there and you go, all the signs were there. Everything was there, and no one listened to the obviousness. And if they just had, things would have been different. But Fives is a great character because besides that, while Fives is fun, he's also again another character who's a real clone's clone, right? I absolutely love his speeches. He makes a great speech in that episode where Ponkrell orders his execution alongside with Jesse, where he's like, "We are, clones. We're men, not droids." And I mean, it is just so good. Fives always knew when to support his brothers, when to speak up, and his speeches were amazing. So Fives goes here. And speaking kind of about Fives, let's also talk about Tup because again, you have a character who is a loyal 501st member and then suddenly kills a Jedi. And you're just sitting there going, oh, he must, what? He just snapped and everything, blah, blah, blah. And this man is literally going, good soldiers follow orders, good soldiers follow orders. What happened to Tup and what happened to Five should have been clear as day signs that shit was going down and shit was going bad. And no one listened. And it's so frustrating. I love Tup. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I just love his hair, his little like teardrop and everything. And I think that Tup deserved more. He was not the bad guy. His inhibitor chip just kicked in too early. So he goes here. Okay, next is Cody, and I'm probably going to get a little bit of flack for this, but like I like Cody, don't get me wrong. I just don't know a whole lot about Cody. I like people pointing out saying that all of the like commanders and captains who were along with their Jedi is kind of a nice like mirror image of each other, whereas Anakin and Rex are kind of mavericks in a way that don't mind bending the rules and whistle, was it whistling to the tune of their own beat, whatever. Obi-Wan is very by the book, so Cody is very by the books, and he's a good character. I like that he is the one who is trusted to know about the Bad Batch's existence when even say Rex didn't. And I do like that Cody kind of has this speech in the Bad Batch where he says, good soldiers follow orders, but we're not droids. We make decisions and we have to live with them. And I do like that. I like the character of Cody, and I kind of wanted to know what happened to him. I felt that it was a little blasé the way they just had Rampart go, oh yeah, no, he defected. I don't know. I wanted to see more of him. I thought we were going to see more of him. Cody's a good character. He's just not my favorite, so he goes in B. Whew, let's put Rex. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's put Rex right there. Rex, the best clone. The best clone. There cannot be enough said about Rex and how he's the best clone. His look, his attitude, the fact that he was paired up with Anakin Skywalker, his friendship with Ahsoka, the way that he was a loyal soldier, but also thought for himself. If we go back to, and there's so much, I mean, he's so involved in everything that I can't break down every single thing about Rex, but even just if we look back at the Ponkrell thing, right? He wasn't going to stop the execution because he still was a good soldier, but he also didn't insist on the execution of Fives and Jesse. And when he was feeling that something was off in Ponkrell, he did something about it, and he made that decision like, hey, we're going to probably commit treason right now. We're about to kill a Jedi. He was so good. Oh god, the arc and the story with him and Ahsoka, and once Rex gets his inhibitor chip out, and that whole, I mean, I don't have to tell you, that scene was great, and that whole episode was great. Rex is a phenomenal character. He is the best clone. The best clone. And I will not take criticism for that. So anyway, the next is Commander Wolf, who is my favorite clone. Now, I know that I said Rex is the best clone, which he is, but Wolf is my favorite clone. I don't know what to tell you. All right. Maybe it's the fact that he's always like scowling. I like that he has his regular, typical like clone haircut, but then he has that one mechanical eye. Side note, his eye is mechanical. I don't think Wrecker's is mechanical. I think it's just a glossed over eye, but you guys tell me, because even in the Bad Batch they look different. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Wolf is my favorite. I just love how like scowly he is and all of that. And I loved his like it is so tragic because again, I've seen people point out where they're like, you know, the wolf pack and Plo Koon loved each other. Plo Koon literally wore some of their armor on him. The boys would have his like image painted on their ship, and then Order 66 happens, and I'm like, oh, that's so tragic. But I absolutely love the character of Wolf. I love the like episodes where he's absolutely over and done with C3PO, and he can't wait to offload him somewhere else. He's cranky, and I love it. And I love the fact that in the Bad Batch, we have this like respectful exchange between Wolf and Rex. And it's like you guys are going to be roomies in a few years. I would have loved to know more about Wolf and what made him actually defect from the Empire. That was another thing that I was hoping would have been addressed in the Bad Batch, and it didn't. But hopefully it'll be addressed at some point, because we see in the Bad Batch he is like, I am a soldier of the Empire, but then in Rebels, he's living with Rex and Gregor. But I absolutely love Wolf. I just think he's a phenomenal character. And I would have liked to see more of him, but just everything from his attitude, from the way he carries himself. I just love the idea of the wolf pack in Rebels when the wolves are kind of going at it and Gregor goes, oh, look, Wolf, you got your wolf pack back. And Wolf just looks so proud and goes, they fight like the boys. I love this character. So all right, last one, Slick. Now, Slick is going to go here. And while I put Slick in the worst category, I do want to say that I understand Slick's motives, right? Because ultimately it has to be like an existential thing, right? As a clone, you are created for the sole purpose of fighting and dying, essentially. And while you have the respect of some people like Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Plo Koon, Ahsoka, there Mace Windu very much respects the clones. You have Jedi like Pon Krell, you have people like Tarkin who don't respect the clones. And so when Slick says it's the Jedi who keep my brothers enslaved, you kind of can see where he's coming at. Now, Rex makes also a good point that he went against his brothers and put his brothers in danger, so that if he really cared, he wouldn't have done that. I can see both sides. I can see where Slick is coming from, but ultimately he did screw over his brother, so he gets the D tier. All right. I guess no one got in the C, so that's good, right? I mean, listen, this is just me. I know that I'm missing a ton of clones. I saw things like in the Bad Batch, people were upset that the character Scorch, but the character Scorch was killed unceremoniously. I don't know much about the Scorch. I didn't play the game that he's in. So I'm not gonna include him in it, honestly. But if Scorch is your favorite character, let me know. I know that there are so many other characters. We got a bunch of clones that were introduced, say, in the Bad Batch, but I don't feel strongly enough about them, or I don't know enough about them to really make any sort of executive decisions on putting them on a list. These are just the clones that, again, I'm familiar with. I know things out and I can actually form an opinion on. But let me know who your favorite clone is. I mean, what do you think of the Bad Batch season 3? Did you think it was a good way to end off the clone era? Do you want to see more of the clones? Personally, again, I would love to see the effort between Rex, Ekko, and other clones with Senator Chuchi. I also would love to see how Emory fits into things now that it seems like she is on board with all that. And as I said, I would love to see how Wolf defects from the Empire, because as of now, Rex and Gregor are defective from the Empire, but Wolf isn't. So how does he defect, and how does he come to be roomies with Rex and Gregor later down the line? All right, this is a long enough video and everything, and it probably didn't make a whole lot of sense, but I hope you had fun regardless of it. I kind of enjoy tier lists at this point. I just always feel a little bit awkward doing it, but I hope that you enjoyed it regardless. Let me know who your favorite clone is, what you thought of the Bad Batch season 3, and also what you thought about Tales of the Empire, which had a very surprising, awesome arc with Barriss Offee that I didn't expect, but liked all the same. And I absolutely, as I said, love the General Grievous cameo. But yeah, I want to know what you think. Let me know. This is Tia from Geek Vibes Nation. Please like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And until next time, guys, bye.